One of God's greatest desires is for His people to give their hearts to Him. "My son," He says, "give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways." We know that our hearts are surrendered to Him when we find joy in observing His ways. No longer under the devil's influence, God guides our decisions and shapes our lives instead. The Apostle Paul put it beautifully. "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself up for me." When Jesus lives in us, following His requirements becomes natural. But when our hearts are not fully surrendered, loving Him completely or being a cheerful giver can feel like a struggle. Ellen G. White reminds us that if we have given our hearts to Jesus, we also shall bring our gifts to Him. Why is giving sometimes so hard? Often, it is because our hearts aren't fully surrendered to Jesus. Only when we give Him our hearts does giving become a joy. Today, let us pray to give our hearts fully to Jesus, allowing Him to dwell within us. God's work relies on hearts committed to Jesus. Do you long to see the gospel reach every corner of the world? Give your heart to Jesus. Do you yearn for Jesus' return, for an end to this age of sin and suffering? Give your heart to Jesus. As we bring our tithes and offerings, may we prayerfully surrender our hearts to Jesus. May we put our desires last and God first.